Hey guys, it's Sarah, and today I want to talk about some books I DNF'd this year. I am an unapologetic DNF'er. I will DNF a book. I do give it a fair shot, and I try not to do it too early. And that's just my personal, whatever I feel is too early. I know everyone is different. I know people who have read one sentence and been like, nope, and moved on. I give it a little bit more than that. I try to really read a chunk of it. Even if I'm not super enjoying it yet, I try to give it a little bit more of a shot. And then I also want to be able to speak to why I'm DNFing it. So I get far enough so I can say, this is why I didn't like it. This is what wasn't working for me. I didn't want to read an entire book that was just going to be like this for the whole time. So I tried to make sure I can speak to why. But I did DNF quite a bit this year. I need to go through my journal because I track it every month. If I DNF'd a book, I will say, okay, here's what I DNF'd, and I just write it down. Okay, the first book that I DNF'd this year was Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. This is one that I picked up because it was being re-released, and it had been very, very popular. And Penelope Douglas in particular has been getting a lot of her stuff. I think she's been picked up by a traditional publisher now, and so a lot of her things are being re-released. So we were featuring a lot of her books when I was working at Barnes & Noble. And this one caught my eye. I had heard a lot of people talk about it. It had been on my radar anyway for a long time, and I had downloaded it onto my Kindle anyway, so I had it. And then I just decided, let's just give this a shot. Let me see. I don't remember how far in I got, but I remember that I was bored. I was very, very bored. I just remember thinking, I'm a chunk into this book, and it's a big book, guys. If you see that book out in the wild, it's not short. But I was really bored. All it was this girl who moved into her boyfriend's dad's house with her boyfriend because they were in a financial situation. They needed somewhere to live. So his dad opened up his home to them. And it's eventually going to be her and his dad having a relationship. So I knew what I was getting into, but I got a decent chunk into it, and literally nothing was happening. I was so bored, and I didn't care. I didn't care. We got so many details about what was going on in their everyday. Like, they were cleaning the kitchen, and I got every detail of them cleaning the kitchen. And I was like, I don't care about this. Like, you can just say they're cleaning the kitchen. I can put that together in my head. You know what I mean? So yeah, I felt like it was way too detailed to the point where I did not care about the storyline after a little bit because I felt like it just wasn't moving forward. Next one that I DNF'd was How to Protect Bookstores and Why by Danny Kane. This one was a book that I got from Libra FM through their advanced listener copies. Yeah, ALCs. So it's basically early copies of audiobooks. And I have that because I do have a platform here, and I love the service. I use it a lot. So I downloaded this when it was available because I was like, yeah, absolutely. I work at a bookstore. Like, let's do this. I didn't last long in this one, and I can tell you exactly why. This got political. And when things get political like that, I'm out. I just am. Like, no. It got to a point where he was blatantly saying the Republican Party is responsible for the reason that books are becoming obsolete or unpopular or challenged. And I was like, oh, okay, and I'm done. Like, when you blame a political party for something like that, it drives me nuts because we are all human. We all make our own decisions. We can all think for ourselves. And I know that not everybody does think for themselves. Believe me, I understand that. I don't, just no. And I would have felt the same way if they were blaming it on the Democratic Party as well. I don't like that. And I don't think that there should be blame going around. I think that there should be, here are the challenges and here's how we overcome them. Not it's this person's fault. It's these people's fault. It's this group's fault. No, that wasn't what I signed up for. So I quit that pretty quick. And then the next one that I DNF'd was The Resemblance by Lauren Nostit, which actually was one of my 5-star predictions. And I DNF'd it. I this was another one that I was just bored. And it made me really sad because this one was set at the University of Georgia, which is my favorite football team. My parents both went to the University of Georgia. And it holds a special place in my heart. But that was the only thing I liked about it. I didn't like the direction that it took. It was going in the direction of the synopsis for a little bit, and then it took a turn and then made it a completely different story. And I was like, what is happening? I don't like this. And then I didn't like it. I started resenting everything the main character was doing. And I don't like that her role was basically taken away in a really interesting and weird way. I just didn't like it. So yeah, that was definitely a disappointment, but I got halfway through that book. Okay, the next one is With Love from Cold World by Alicia Thompson, another 5-star prediction that I DNF'd. So this was around the time when I DNF'd 2 of my 5-star predictions in one round. It was great. Yeah, I didn't like this one either. And this is another one where I was just so bored. Like, I didn't care, and I wasn't buying the chemistry between the 2 characters. I wasn't buying it. I didn't feel it. And it was hate to love, but it was not gradual. It was very instantaneous from hate to love. And I was just like, wait a minute. Hate to love, you're supposed to slowly realize that you're being attracted to this person. And then there's a denial period as well. Where's the denial period? And it didn't feel authentic to me. And yeah, I was bored. It was another one where I read almost half the book and nothing was happening. Literally nothing was happening. And I stopped caring. Okay, next one is The Pairing by Casey McQuiston, which was one of my most anticipated books of the entire year because I loved the premise. And I have spoken about this recently as well, so I'll keep it brief. But the premise of this book is that there's a couple who breaks up, and they were supposed to go on this European wine tour almost type thing in Europe. And they broke up right before that tour happened. They were able to make it so that they could use their tickets another time separately. And when they choose to do that, they just happen to be on the same one again. And it's supposed to be like a second chance romance type thing. Okay. I was enjoying it in the beginning, but slowly I was just like, I don't know that I like these characters. I don't like the decisions that they're making. I don't like... It was hard for me to get on board with the decisions that were being made, for sure. And then the reason I decided to put it down, I was kind of starting to feel that way anyway. I was just like, I'm not 100% sure I'm enjoying this. And then there's a conversation had between the 2 where they decide to make a pact on who could sleep with the most people on this tour. And I went, nope. That was it. That was a nail in the coffin for me. I don't like that. You're supposed to be following your connection to each other back again. Sleeping with other people is not going to do that. So it was just going to create jealousy, and I just didn't like the way that it was going. So I decided to put it down. All right, another one that I DNF'd was Casualties by Elizabeth Morrow. This is one I've had from NetGalley on my Kindle for a very, very, very long time. It's one of my older books that I was first approved for. And I think I ended up requesting this one in the beginning because it had a military theme to it, which obviously my life is military. So, but I started reading it. I kind of went, okay, I'm ready for a NetGalley book. Let me pick one of my older ones that, I haven't gotten to yet. And so that's what I did. I did not like it. It does deal with some grief that's happening, but there was a lot of decisions being made by this main character who is a mother to a son who's in the military that I just went, no, no, you can't do that. It was hard for me to suspend my belief with that just because I'm so ingrained into it. And yeah. And then upon some further research, I didn't make it too far. I think I got 20% into this one. But I was just so frustrated with the main character. Like I did not want to read an entire book from her point of view anymore. And then upon kind of seeing some other reviews, a lot of people were talking about kind of what happens a little bit later in the book. And I was like, yep, that probably would have made me mad too. So I'm kind of glad I stopped. It was too close to home for me to suspend any disbelief for that kind of stuff. So yeah. Okay, another one is Watership Down by Richard Adams, which made me so sad. Because I love the cover of this book, but that's literally the only thing I liked. Now, this is a classic that is beloved by a lot of people. So I am in the minority on this one, for sure. I was listening to it, which the narrator was fantastic. So it wasn't the listening experience that did it for me. It was actually the story. I think the listening got me a little bit further than I would have gone if I were reading it with my eyeballs. I didn't care. I didn't care. And I was trying to follow these rabbits with their names and all that. And I got so confused. And I was paying attention. It wasn't because I was like letting my mind wander. No, I paid attention the entire time. I was listening to every single word. And it was hard for me to follow. And I just realized I don't care. And I just went, yeah, I don't think this is for me. And this is my second time trying to read the book. I had tried with my eyeballs quite a few years ago, actually, before even my second daughter was born, and she's 13 now. So I remember where we were living when I tried to read that book, and I just wasn't feeling it. So I put it down and then tried it again, and then I got further this time, but still was just not feeling it. So I feel like if I try a book 2 times and I put it down twice, I think that's a sign that it's just not for me. Okay, the next one is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. We picked this one for our book club, and it was my pick. And everyone voted and picked it. None of us liked it. None of us liked it. It was very interesting because I've heard nothing but good things about that book, and everybody loves it on BookTube. And then my in-life book club, we were all like, no. So it's very interesting. This one is another situation where I was not buying the chemistry between the 2 main characters. I was not buying it. I had a big problem with Jamie as well, where he would make a decision that was complete opposite of what he just said. He just made this big argument about something, and then the next second he's like, oh yeah, it's fine. Then why did I have to read 2 paragraphs of you complaining about something and saying it's not a good idea when you're just going to change your mind? No. I just wasn't buying their chemistry together. And I did get to a point where they were supposed to start feeling those sparks. And I was like, no. And I didn't really like the main character either. I didn't like her that much. I can't remember her name. I remember Jamie's name, but I can't remember her name. I didn't care. So yeah, which was unfortunate because everyone loves that book. And I thought it was going to be like a really cute, sweet romance. And I didn't care. And then there were complaints about the love scene in that book. And one of the girls in our club did a dramatic reading of it. And it was the best thing I've ever seen. It was so funny. And the last one that I DNF'd is This Reckless Oath We Made by Bryn Greenwood, which was my Brittany pick that I just posted earlier this week. But yeah, I got halfway through that book and I tried my hardest. And I was excited for this one because I wanted to read a book with a main character who is on the autism spectrum. And that's definitely what we had here. The only thing I really liked about this book was that he spoke in Old English, and it was the best thing ever. I loved it. I loved the words he used. I loved the way he spoke. And I do love that the people who are around him and love him speak that way with him as well. So I did love that. But that's about it. I did not like the main character girl. And see, again, I can't remember her name. I didn't like her. And I didn't like her whole life situation that was happening. And just some things were happening that I was just like, why are we doing this? And I was saying that a lot. And then I just kind of started realizing like, I only care about one of these characters and that's it. And it wasn't enough for me to keep going, basically. So yeah, I like Gentry, but that's about it. Everyone else was just really bothered me. And yeah, I didn't like, not that I didn't like the storyline. I felt like there wasn't much of a storyline, to be honest with you. So yeah, but I got halfway through. Guys, those are 9 books that I DNF'd this year. Yeah, I think I've gotten better about realizing when I need to stop and not going farther than I need to be. And if I'm reading a book and I feel like I'm wasting my time and I don't want to spend my time reading it anymore, I've been better about going, okay, and this is officially a DNF, and I don't feel guilty about it. Let me know down below if you have read any of these. If you disagree, that's fine. Let me know. And do you DNF? And if you do, what have you DNF this year? I'd love to know. And I will talk to you guys again soon. Hope you have a great day.